Welcome to Cityline. It is great to be in your home. We're zooming from my kitchen, and we have a great hour ahead of us. Later on in the hour, we'll be talking with the Boys and Girls Club of Puget Sound. Their treasure hunt virtual event and auction is just around the corner, and they have some great surprises planned for you. Raising Girls will be here. Sharon and Lisa are back to tell us what they have been doing since we saw them last spring. Tacoma Public Library, our Marissa is here to talk about, as we're getting back to school, what do our libraries look like and what can we do and what can we not do in a very librarian way. Humane Society will be here with our pet of the week, and with me right now is someone who I have known for decades, and she is as lovely from the moment I met her to where she is right now. We're talking about Lauren Walker-Lee. She is the executive director of Tacoma Community House. Hello, my dear. How are you?
You are too kind, Amanda. I'm doing well, very well.
I'm glad to hear that. So Tacoma Community House has been an important part of our community since 1910. Oh my gosh. I mean, if we could look at her as a human being, and I say it's a her, she would be a grande dame at this point if she had made it past 2010. And for those of us who are new to our area, and not familiar with what Tacoma Community House does, give us a little background, Ms. Lauren, on your organization.
Well, how many organizations do you know that have been around for 110 years, serving in a neighborhood and the greater community? There are some of those out there, but Tacoma Community House has been right here on the same footprint in the Hilltop neighborhood since 1910. And since those early days, we have been serving the neighborhood, which was largely compiled of immigrants and refugees in kind of those early days of people that would settle in this neighborhood and start finding out about services at Tacoma Community House. So you've gotten us at a very timely time because, in fact, we have dealt with two worldwide pandemics, the pandemic of Spanish flu, 1918, and also, we've been assisting with refugee support services since the beginning of time as well. So we are very proud to be serving in this neighborhood.
It is incredible when I think about you are one of the few organizations that has been through a pandemic before and is still around to talk about it. So let's talk about that, Lauren. COVID-19 and now, unfortunately, the Delta variant. What has the impact been upon Tacoma Community House, both staff and clients, and of course now and in the future? I mean, we are back where we didn't want to be.
That's really true, Amanda. You know, my hat is off to the staff at Tacoma Community House, the board of directors, for incredible work on leaning in on how to deliver our important services. We have 5 core programs, and those are education, where we teach English language acquisition, and GED, adult basic education. We have employment services. We have our immigration department. We have client advocacy that deals with domestic violence and sexual assault victims. And then we have our REACH programs, which is Housing for Success, and the ACT program, and the housing services that we deliver. But oh my gosh, it's been a ride, Amanda. It's been 18 months of a pandemic. The REACH staff are out meeting with homeless youth on the street corners. We've just hit our $2 million mark of delivering paying rent for young adults in Pierce County. So over 300 young adults, we've paid over $2 million to keep them in their homes. Education, just in terms of COVID, we're just getting ready to require vaccinations of people that want to be in person for our English language acquisition classes. The students have been begging to be in person. And because of the Delta variant and the low vaccination rate, we had to put that off. Employment services and immigration, still working really hard. Immigration has been knocking it out of the park since the beginning. So just serving many immigrants. And then, as I already said, the REACH program has just done an amazing job.
So let's talk about the REACH program. That is Tacoma Community House newest initiative. And just the word REACH means I have to come close to you. And during the time of COVID and now Delta, how do you work a program called REACH when we are asked to distance?
On the REACH program, we have been the fiscal agent of the REACH program for 10 years. All of the REACH employees are Tacoma Community House employees, so they get benefits, they get our, we do payroll for them. And then we have been one of these supporting organizations for REACH since the beginning. We have this in 2021, we are in the process of integrating as one of our core programs and just finalizing just the best home for REACH in terms of this crazy COVID environment. So they are out there in homeless shelters, they are providing services. As I said, we have the rental assistance that we've been paying. I sign about $200,000 of rent checks every week. So, and it's a happy moment to know that we are keeping people in their own homes. So the managers and the staff in those two programs are just doing awesome work to just make sure that homeless youth and youth and young adults aged 12 to 24 are getting needed services.
And you know, Lauren, you say this in such a serene way. My thought bubble is going, yes, you're providing housing, but you're providing housing also during eviction moratorium, eviction bridge. So it's not status quo of just A, B, and C. You've got some real heady legal issues that you have to travel in order to write those checks. And yet you do it just so seamlessly. It's like, well, we're just going to learn and do it. And that's why Tacoma Community House has been around since 1910. Let's talk about another kind of in the news type topic, and that's DACA recipients. Do you serve them?
Yes, we do. And so we work, DACA is Deferred Action Childhood Arrivals, often known as Dreamers. It is individuals who were born in the United States but don't have that US citizenship. So we have been helping with renewals. There was a court decision just in the last several months that stopped us from doing new DACA applications, but we are definitely doing a lot of those applications for those dreamers.
I love that. So let's kind of pull back and look at a big 30,000 feet point of view here, Miss Lauren. You and I jumping out of the airplane together. I know you'll do this with me. There's a lot going on with refugees from Afghanistan. I think you have to have your head in the dirt not to know this right now. So let's talk about how Tacoma Community House helps refugees in the past, how many you've served in the past, and what are you and other organizations, because you have great partnerships, doing now, right now, at this moment?
Thanks for that question, Amanda. You know, the issue of refugees is always just very heart-wrenching. And what's going on in Afghanistan right now is just so incredibly sad. It is a lot of people who are in dire conditions trying to get to this into the United States. There are people who are interpreters and translators who have the SIV status to be able to come here and bring their families. And so it's a confusing thing of coming, getting the services that you need, and then continued services to help you flourish. So, you know, I got a call from David Alger, past executive director of Associated Ministries this week. And he said, hey, Lauren, you know, what's going on? And we're all trying to find out exactly how many people are coming, where their entrance point is, what their service needs are. It's just crazy. I'm getting lots of calls. I was on a call with a city council member and county exec this week and other Lutheran Community Services. We were amazing. David Alger talked about Bob Yamashita from Tacoma Community House and other individuals in the community coordinating with the Saigon Airlift and Southeast Asians coming here. Washington State was the only state that would take refugees in those late 70s, early 80s. So here we are again. We've dealt with other refugee groups that have come to Pierce County, but Pierce County is leaning in to figure out how we can best serve people currently. I have to do a little education here. Lutheran Community Services is the designated resettlement agency. So they're the organization that gets the call that Afghanistan refugees are coming in, and they coordinate the picking up at the airport, the getting the housing for them. And where Tacoma Community House has been instrumental with refugees is once those people are settled, we provide support. So when looking at our statistics just in the last 5 years, we've served over 172 refugees or asylums at Tacoma Community House. So this is what happens to them. They get settled by Lutheran Community Services. They come to us. And so of that 172, 81 people we helped with employment. 3 we helped with that client advocacy, the domestic violence, sexual assault. 141 were in our English language acquisition classes. 116 received help with their immigration paperwork. And three of the people of that 172 were from Afghanistan, but there were 17 countries that were represented in that 171. So now, just to give that perspective, now we're getting the individuals from Afghanistan. And in looking at Lutheran Community Services website, 40 Afghanistan refugees have come here to the Northwest region, which is a big region, recently, and everyone's still trying to figure out what the numbers are. So there are those 2 important organizations working hand in hand to make sure that these people from Afghanistan get the services that they need.
You know, after hearing that and just the breadth and the detail of it takes a village, and that's exactly what you have just described. How can our viewers help with the new Afghanistanis that are coming to Tacoma? Because we have a welcome week coming up, don't we, Lauren?
We do. Welcoming Week is a national program to welcome in immigrants, refugees, those that are different from us, and that is the 10th through the 21st of September, I believe. It is, and so it really is for all of us to think about, get outside of ourselves, think about how we can be kind and welcoming to people that are different from us. And so here we have the opportunity with these Afghanistan refugees coming in and their families. The translator interpreter will be speaking English, but the family doesn't. How do we support those in our neighborhoods, in our businesses? How do we help? How do we help the local? So how can people meet them? Both, I'm going to give a pitch for donations, because donations help us to purchase what these groups want. So that's always out there. I'd say both Lutheran Community Services and Tacoma Community House will have that role in trying to figure out what's the best use of dollars. Lutheran Community Services has a website that has 4 particular areas about helping those people come in to get settled. Driving to people up at the airport. They have a wonderful page that talks about different kinds of kits that you can put together. And then they also have some other suggestions for the ways to volunteer. Same thing is true for us, is that we did some emergency food distribution that was culturally appropriate during the pandemic for Latinx families. We've talked a little bit about doing that with Afghanistan families who have very different foods than the normal American Diet. We do volunteer coordination, and we also want to get those people into our English language acquisition classes and employment services as quickly as we can. So those are ways that people can help. But I think just circling back to that welcoming is how can we honor the dignity of these people in crisis as our neighbors here in Tacoma.
Yeah. And for that, we just need open hearts and open minds. And Tacoma Community House certainly leads the way in that example. Lauren, thank you so much for being here, especially during this busy time of Delta and welcoming week. I mean, those slim shoulders and that team that we can't get on Zoom carries a lot of weight. So I say thank you so much to you and your team. Please take care of yourself, and I would love to have you back on soon to talk about settlement and what more you need, all right?
Thanks, Amanda.
You're more than welcome, my dear.